Hello, world. Wesley here. So, welcome to the Microsoft Access 2016-2019 tutorial. So, let's jump in and see. So, what is Microsoft Access? So, Access is a bundled in Microsoft Office, and you'll also get it with Office 365. So, simply Access or MS Access is a DBMS management system that allows you to create business applications either from template or from scratch. From template, I mean you get sample templates that you use to come up with your system, or you can just start your system from scratch. Now, what makes Microsoft Access interesting is that it comes with a GUI, that is a graphical user interface that allows you to design your items. You can design a table by simply having the GUI. You click on the table and you set the fields and you set the data type, and it gives you software development tools like VBA and macros that allows you to automate your database and come up with a powerful application that is database driven and makes it easy to run your business. For example, if you want to do an inventory system to keep track of inventory items, you can do that using Access, and it will be very fast and easy. The other thing good with Access is that when you develop your database on one machine, you can always use it on another machine that runs Microsoft Office without any difficulty. Now, let's see what we will do in this tutorial. There are some things that we'll cover, and the first thing that we will cover is tables. So we need to see how to create the tables, set up the data types, and the field properties. So on tables, we will cover the data types, and data types simply represent what type of data will be stored in a given field. Now we have various data types. We'll go through some of them, and others will talk about them as we jump into the practical part. So the first one is what we call text, and in Access 19 and 2016 you get short text and long text. So this is simply used to hold alphanumeric data, that is number and characters and other symbols, question mark, full stop, and so on. So all those we store them under text. Then we have another data type called number and large number. So these are simply used to hold numbers between 0 and 9. And on numbers, you can do arithmetic calculations on them. You can add them, you can divide them, and so on. Then we have date and time. So date and time is simply used to hold the date and time. For example, you are having a system that tracks purchases. So you'll need to have a date or purchase date when item was purchased or sold. So to hold such data, you use date and time. Currency. Now, currency is simply used to hold monetary value. So again, if we go back to our example of a system for sell or selling items, you need to know the price of an item. So to store the price of an item, we store that under data type currency. Then yes and no. So this either contains a true or false. It stores either true or false. So if you needed to store something that is either true or false, or it's yes and no, so we use the data type yes and no. Then we have an auto number. So an auto number, most people use it as a serial number. So it's a number that is assigned automatically to a record, and the purpose is simply to identify it. So the good thing with auto number is that it is auto incremental. So when you save the first record or when you enter the first record, automatically the next record will be assigned number 2, 3, 4 as we go on and on. So auto is good for serialization and identification purposes for your record. We have the other data type, which is hyperlink. So hyperlink is simply used to store or hold that can be text or numbers that point to an address that can be opened on a browser. So any link that you want to open on a browser, for example, you want to store a website of a company. So to store the website, the link of the website, we use the hyperlink. So it will be clickable. Anytime someone clicks, automatically it will jump to a browser and open that link on a browser. Now, attachment. This allows you to store various types of files. For example, you want to store a picture of, say, a passport of a client. You can use attachment to store the picture, or you want to store an attachment, someone you are holding data of a company and you have their company profile, which is in a PDF. You can use attachment to store that PDF file. Now, calculated. So the calculated data type is simply used to hold a formula or an expression that will be used to give out an answer depending on the calculation or the formula that is entered there. Lookup Wizard. Now these people use it for various functions. The first function is that it allows you to pick values from one table and link it to another table. Now, when you use it that way, it forms or it creates a relationship. So that is one use of it. The other use of a lookup wizard is that it allows you to set up a drop-down menu that allows you to select items. For example, you have a field called gender, which is holding male and female. So instead of typing male and female, you simply do a lookup wizard and enter the two options. So when a user is filling your data or is filling your forms, they'll be able to click on the drop down and select either male or female. Now, the other thing that we look at in this tutorial is forms. So we'll be able to see how to create forms, and a form simply allows us to enter or feed data quickly into a table. At the same time, it allows us to view data and navigate through the data that is stored in our tables. At the same time, we'll look at queries. So queries allow us to extract data from our table. They also allow us to do things like calculations or complex operations within our data from our tables. The other thing we'll do or we'll look at is reports. So a report simply gives us a summary of stored data in table of summary of data from queries. So we'll be able to generate reports. Then we'll do things like macros. Macro simply allows us to automate our database. Say you have a button that you need when you click print, it prints a report. So that is a macro. We use macro to do such tasks. Then database password. So we'll see how to protect our database with a password so that nobody can access it if they don't have the password. We'll do a startup option. This is where we'll do a startup form, or we'll set up a startup form. So the startup form can be the main form, or it can be a login form, so that when the person opens the database for the first time, they get the main form or they get a login form where they enter the username and the password. Then they are allowed to view other elements within the system. Then lastly, we look at hiding database objects. Now, on these objects, I'm talking about things like the tables, forms, queries, macros, and so on. So there is a time you want to hide items from your user so that someone will not mess around with them. So it is always nice to do that. So I'll show you how to hide the items. So that is simply the basic introduction. So we meet on the next lesson where we will start with designing and setting up of tables. Thank you.